All right, so I'm here to talk about my notation system for scratching. So to start off, I'll just tell you people the story about how I came up with this, because it'll give you an idea right away in which situations this type of system is useful. It was around, I think it was 96. I was trying to remember when this happened. I think it's around 96. A few years ago, I came up with this notation system. It was kind of something I stumbled upon. It was around, I think it was 96. I was trying to remember when this happened. I think it's around 96. A few years ago, I came up with this notation system. It was kind of something I stumbled upon.
This is Raymond Myrtle. He's devised a way to notate turntable performance, and we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to turn it over a little bit. Okay. All right. Myself, I invented a system of transcribing DJ music that's all forms of DJ music, from mixing in clubs all the way to turntablists, DJs, scratching.
Yeah, they chart this stuff like music. They call it TTM.
Turntable transcription methodology. The graph represents sounds, right?
Since the turntable is a circle, okay, it can be broken into degrees, and here you see the standard unit circle right here that you learn in trigonometry or algebra class, whatever. And here we go. You can see that any sample on a record can be broken down into a number of degrees or an angle. So if people don't know what a record really is, it's just an audio file that's just spun all the way around, all the way into the center of the record. So it's like a spiral going all the way around it. So for any sample that's on the record, it can be broken down into a number of degrees. So I've got 90 degrees at the top right here, and I've got 0 degrees at the bottom. So this is the origin right here, kind of. And as you go to the right, you can see that this is time, and as you go upwards, this is degrees. So really what it breaks down to is that scratching is really the change in degrees, the displacement of any particular point which you start measuring from.
This is the main idea here is to draw the scratches with the record movement as a function of time. So I don't usually draw the horizontal axis and the vertical axis like I did on top there. This is just to explain the principle.
And as you go to the right, you can see that this is time, and as you go upwards, this is degrees.
The horizontal axis is time, and I divide it into beats and then into bars. And the vertical one, as you can see, is the position of the record.
So in this example, Fresh is played a little bit, and then somebody holds it for a period of time, and then lets it go again, and it plays out. And then, so that means, so basically positive slope going upwards, that's the record playing forward, and then downwards is the record going backwards. And if it's just if it has no slope at all, that means the record's just being held still. And a completely vertical line like infinite slope, that's impossible really, because the record can't go amount of distance in no time at all. So there's certain. You got your hand raised? Uh-huh.
Different distances on the inside of the record and on the outside. Like Fresh would take up maybe 35 degrees on the outside, and then maybe even 280 on the inside.
Well, the degrees are always going to be the same. The arc length is what you're talking about. The arc length of the thing, of course, will always be changing as you get into the record, but the degrees won't change. And at first I thought of doing it like that, of using the arc length, but the arc length is always changing. So it's actually, so you're just using the degrees, so the degrees aren't changing, but the actual arc length is changing. So,
but what I wrote here is this translates with the angle of the line that I draw. If it's a high-pitched scratch, then it's like a push on the record. So there's a significant record movement over like a small period of time. So the line is at an important angle. Whereas if it's a low-pitched scratch like this, you're barely moving the record. So the line will be at a much smaller angle. Well, I'd like to point out first of all that I've seen a few other scratch notation systems.
A few years ago, I came up with this notation system. It was kind of something I stumbled upon.
Well, I'd like to point out first of all that I've seen a few other scratch notation systems, and some of them, I find, in my opinion, use too many symbols and it becomes confusing. And I don't think we should have to learn how to read a notation system. I think we should be able to look at it and visualize and understand what it is. So the only cases where I use symbols is to avoid confusion. For example, the most obvious case I think is crabbing. So I drew a little crab to explain, where my symbol for the crab came from. Because let's say you're doing, for example, a 3-click crab player like this.
So right here, and a flare, would sound like this. So if somebody wanted me to side read. And so this, in this flare, in the composition of this flare, the black dot means that I'm clicking at the point in time that's adjacent to it on the x-axis, and the second black dot means the same thing. So, and you can see that in one movement, there's a back in this one scratch, there's a backwards and forwards movement. So you can see this one wave, this one bump. That's just like. But when I add those two black dots there, those clicks, that's what it sounds like. And all these scratches right here are separated by these white circles, and those represent just open fader position, and those are just to separate scratches from each other, because scratches, when you join all of them together, they could eventually look like a whole bunch of clicks, which you wouldn't be able to really decipher. You really wouldn't be able to decipher what's really going on.
Well, I thought since the crossfader is only used to add nuances or to add cuts or to complement the sound which is first created on the turntable, I decided to just notate the cuts from the crossfader as slashes on the line representing the record movement. So if you look, for example, at my one-click orbit here, these are the slashes on the line are clicks from the fader. And as you can see, I wrote that when I release the record, it's a double line. When I still have my hand on the record, it's a single line. So the little example that I have there is a baby scratch like this. Then I drew some chirps. And as you can see, the notation allows us to see when a scratch is started with the fader open or the fader closed. The chirp is started with the fader open. So obviously you don't see any clicks from the fader, any slashes on the line on the drawing of the chirp. Same thing for a one-click flare, which is started with the fader open. You can see it, and it's just a real easy way, I think, to understand scratches when you see them like this. Let's say someone's trying to explain to you a scratch. If he draws it in front of you, and you see like where the fader is, what you do with the record, where everything fits in together, it's just one way that I thought would be good to visualize scratches.
All right, so where's Raymond Pirtle? Let's give it up. He's right up there, Raymond Pirtle.
Greetings, my name is Ray. I go by DJ Raedawn, and I'm out here in Cartagena, Colombia. It's really great to be here with the Next Level 3.0 program, and we've got a wonderful group of students, and I'm really excited to be doing this. Every BPM, every speed of a record, creates its own geometric shape. So 100 beats per minute is a triangle. how did I create my system? In 1999, I devised a system of notation for DJ music called the turntablist transcription methodology. And I was basically just using trigonometry to describe the movement of the record over time.
So also, if the sound is cut off completely with the fader, I just don't draw the line at all. So for stabs, they look like that. And then at the end I put a release.